audience? Anyone, quickly enough. I only have 15 minutes, don't lose time. Anyone, one person please. Just walk up, yes. What's your name?
Shiva.
Shiva. Shiva, I'm going to ask you a few questions and you have to give me simple answers. These are very basic nursery level or maybe grade 2 questions, right? How many months do we have in a year? 12. Choose any 6 that you're really fond of. Any 6 that you're very fond of. Any 6 months, don't open this. Any 6 months out of 12 that you're very fond of. Tell me.
March.
You have to be quick. Yes.
March, May, June.
March, May, June.
April, December.
March, April, May, June, December.
February and September.
That's it. February, 6, right? So Feb, March, April, May, June, December, right? Feb, March, April, May, June, December. Choose any 4 that you're very fond of, that you have good memories of, Shiva. Feb, March, April, May, June, December. Choose any 4.
Feb, March, May, and December.
Feb, March, May, and December. So what is left is? April and June. Out of April and June, choose any 1 that you really like.
June.
Are you sure? Yeah. Your choice, Shiva. How many days do we have in June? 30 days, right? Choose any 20 that you really like. Any 20. 1 to 20. Choose any 10 out of these. Any 10. Your choice, Shiva. Fond memories, gone for a movie, had a date.
From 11 to 20.
11 to 20. What is left is 1 to 10. Right? Out of 1 to 10, choose any 6 that you really like.
6.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Choose any 4 out of these.
3 to 6.
3, 4, 5, 6. He's trying to make it difficult for me, but anyway. 3, 4, 5, 6. Choose any 2 out of these. 3 and 4. What is left is 5 and 6. Out of 5 and 6, choose 1 for yourself and 1 for me. Give that sheet to me. 5 for yourself. Shiva chose 5 for himself, right? Is this what you chose for yourself? June 5, right? What happened? There's no magic. So I have not been called here as a magician or a Kala Jadoo person. It was basically what I did. I wrote a number on that sheet, manipulated Shiva, kept pushing him to the wall, to my choice, to my number. He not even realizing that he's actually being manipulated. In our life, a lot of times, our choices, we think it's our own choice. We call the shots, we decide. It's someone else who decides on our behalf. How many of you wear jeans? Wearing jeans right now? Almost all of us wear jeans. Why do we wear jeans? Quickly. It's comfortable and it's fashionable, right? And if you really think of it, jeans is the most uncomfortable form of human dressing God would have ever imagined. But market told us that, oh well, jeans is actually comfortable. If I was wearing jeans right now, it would have been very, very difficult for me to stretch, to run, no air condition. Jeans is the most pathetic form of human dressing, but we all aspire to wear jeans. Villages around Kashipur, people walking down Manhattan, everyone wants to wear jeans. Fashionable, I can tell you, your jeans looks the same as your jeans. 2 pockets here, 2 pockets here, 1 tiny pocket here, 2 small little buttons here. It's the same. So we talk about choices at the end of the day. It's about how our choices are manipulated and we're not always in control of that. My topic today, I'm actually going to talk about my own journey because there have been several things that I've been doing last 13, 14, 15 years. The first part of my conversation is about personal is political. The dress that I'm wearing today is my politics. The moustache that you see, the studs that I wear, that's my politics. I want to be different. I want to be myself. And I think that is extremely important for all of us to be that. All of us, many times, because we all go to an institution, we all study in an institution, we try to be someone else and we always try to be homogeneous in many, many ways. It's very, very important for all of us to find our own politics. Personal is political. You need to find your personal. You need to find your political. Unless and until you don't have that, there's nothing that you do. Unless and until you don't have that, there's nothing that you can actually achieve. as in fine, you might be churning and making, affecting somebody's bottom line sitting at this university or in Seattle. But unless and until you have your own, something should make you angry. My journey in life actually began with that when I started getting angry about things around me in Delhi. I went to St. Stephen's College to study, and when I was going out, all my friends were actually, trying to bell the cat or be a bureaucrat, and I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I was sure that I didn't want to do this, and that's when I started volunteering for River Yamuna that we have in Delhi. And the idea was to really create a noise about Yamuna. I didn't know much about it. I still don't know much about Yamuna or about the environment. And that's where the journey began, because there was something which was upsetting me, that we were actually sitting in Delhi where all the bureaucrats lived. That's where all the NGOs were headquartered. That's where all the businessmen lived. That's where the government lived. That's where people who watch Inconvenient Truth and Wear Fab India live. But our rivers are completely dead. Our forests are actually disappearing. And that frustrated me as an individual, that what's the education that we're actually talking about? As in, my education should have liberated me, or should have liberated the city. But most of the places, as in, when I go to a village, when I go to the countryside perhaps has better ecology, more happy people, there's more wisdom that exists with people who do not have education versus people who actually have education. So why is there degeneration of environment, degeneration of social values when it comes to educated people? And that has been a challenge for me last 15 years, to think that what does it take? Is it the degeneration of our education system, or is it something else that disturbs all of us? My journey with Swechha began there. The idea was to bring thousands of people to the Yamuna to show them what the river is. I'll tell you a small story. I was doing a workshop, so I do a lot of work with schools. And one day, we all have studied that our industrialization and our civilization is always next to a river. So there was a group of 40 kids in the class, and I asked them that, why don't you group yourself based on the river basin that you belong to? So in India, we have 16 river basins. So there was suddenly a lot of commotion. This is one of the top schools of Delhi. There was a lot of movement in the class. There was a boy who used to be usually very quiet in my class. He walks up to me and says, "Sir, I don't know," because there's some people who had made a Ganga group, there's some who made a Kaveri group, like 2-3 of them. He walks up to me and says, "Sir, I don't know which river basin do I belong to. I think I belong to the tap water basin." And you won't believe that 50 to 60% of the class actually went and sat with him, made a group, made a tap water group, because nobody knew which river basin did they belong to. If I actually was not delivering this TED talk right now, and asked you where you get your water from in this building, you tell me overhead tank, Syntex. And that's where does your shit go? You say, oh, well, it goes to septic tank. That disconnect that we all live in, I think it's very, very important for you people as businessmen, we as citizens, we all as people who share this planet to understand that air conditioner does not churn air. Water dispenser does not churn water. A great green scenery of watching Nat Geo is not watching a forest. We need to really look at a forest, look at a river, look at our issues. That's where our journey began, to really work with young people and not look at, we're not saying that people should start wearing khadi or Hawaii chappal to be socially responsible. You can be doing what you do and still be part of change. You need to change your life, one life at a time, one step at a time. I can teach you about water conservation, but I will not put a camera in your bathroom to find out if you really save water or not, as in that would be too much. It's an individual calling. The times that we all live in, so many times when we talk about virtues and values, it's an individual calling that we all need to work on. As we started working on environmental issues, so we run curriculums in schools, we do these journeys in different parts of India, take different kinds of people, and we actually work a lot with rich kids. The reason why we work with rich schools of Delhi, and these are the top 8-10 schools of Delhi, because by default, you like it or not, 80% of leadership in our country actually comes from these rich schools, these rich kids. Well, they will not perhaps have to make a CV, a biodata. They will be born, as in they will get rich. So it's very important it was very important for us strategically to engage with these people, because it was very difficult for us to really indulge or engage with the grown-ups that we have in the corporate world. We also started working with children in localities, in slums, and just recently, 5 years ago, we started working with rag pickers. So I made a documentary on garbage and looking at how our waste disappears as soon as we chuck it in the bin. And that's when we realized that, it actually does not disappear. There's a very, very organized market that exists in our country, so in this documentary that I shot, every time you brush your hair and you chuck it in the bin, even that gets recycled in our country. From there, the idea to really look at, can this be a business? Can there be a social business around waste? There was something called Green the Gap that was born, where we look at two things. One is, of course, sustainability, which means primarily giving more life to trash. So a waste that perhaps would have been disappeared or would have gone to a landfill, can that be extended? Can the lifespan of trash be extended? And the other is that we all look at something as green and say, well, this is an eco-friendly product, but what about, is it a people-friendly product? So the other aspect was livelihood, to create livelihood in the process of creating green business. So it wasn't just about flaunting a fancy jute bag or a recycled jhola, but it was also about that who made that jhola for me, and that's very, very important, because all of us, unfortunately, live in a very, very cheap world. One of the main things that determines whether we should buy it or not is whether it's cheap or not. We do not want to go beyond and look at who made that fancy little shirt that you're wearing, because you're not bothered about that. You go and compare two brands and look at what is cheap and what brand is loud enough, and that's how you buy. Our politics of consumption, unless that changes, nothing's going to change. So Green the Gap is about politics of consumption. It's not just for the price. It's also about people, are they fairly being paid or not? As we were working on Green the Gap, on environment, sustainability, there was a group of women who came to us and they said, well, we want to know how to read, we want to learn how to read and write. We did not know, we said, fine, we'll give you a few volunteers, because their kids used to come and study at our organization, at our creative learning center. Within 15 to 20 days, almost say 30 days, these women, there were 6 of them, and they all were, half of them were migrants from smaller towns, from smaller villages in Bihar and Uttar Pradesh and Orissa. Within 30 days, they said, oh well, we learned how to read and write, or we're learning, but we want to do something more. Now we were trapped that there were these women who wanted to really take care of their destiny, wanted to do something about it. We did not have the resource or to really work on their skill development in any form. We did a small little exercise to find out what is it that they already know and what are their limitations. So we found out that they actually knew how to cook. We started a dabba system. So we started something called Lunchbox 17. And the idea was that these 6 to 7, and actually there were 100 of them, in total 100 women, but 6 to 7 started working full-time on this idea. They could actually cook the food, and we started on 1st of May with one single dabba in South Delhi. And right now, as I speak, around 150 to 200 dabbas go every day by these women who otherwise did not know any other skill. They otherwise work as maids and servants. It's called Lunchbox 17 because 17 is the pin code of our enterprise, because that's where we are located. There could be 10 women, 20 women in any locality who could come together and want to start an enterprise, and that could be called, so in a district 23 of New Delhi, there are 10 women who come together and want to control their own destiny. That will be called Lunchbox 23. So the idea is to look at empowerment ground up, empowerment which is not always dependent on investment. Everything that I'm telling you, be it the Swechha story, it was about power of young people walking the streets and holding those politicians by their collar, and also the citizens by their collar, and asking them to act, not dependent on resource necessarily. Second, Green the Gap was, again, it wasn't, we did not write business business plans and look for investors or VCs so that we can really become a big company. We grew inch by inch, dollar by dollar, penny by penny, and right now, yes, we do a business of over 50 lakhs to a crore by doing nothing actually. And similarly, the third enterprise Lunchbox 17 did not need any investment from anyone. So when we talk about social change, the two things that I want to tell you, one is that social change is not a side of economic change. Social change can still have an economic story, can still have economic aspect. And the other is that when we talk about economic story, it is not always dependent on big investment. You can start small, you can look at growing, creating impact, but if it is actually based in the community, if it is actually grounded on the needs of the people, if a business is social, social will become business. And that's the only way forward right now. If we do not integrate these two worlds, we'll have more red districts in our country. It's not, we might just think that it's not an issue. There are thousands of people who are dying every day out of hunger, out of bad environment, out of the companies that you all will join after 6 months or after 1.5 years and affect positively their bottom lines. Those are the companies, unfortunately, many times are becoming cause of thousands and thousands of people dying. So you might feel, oh well, we churn employment. You might be churning employment for yourself and for your brothers and sisters and for poor people, for these big factories, but there are thousands of people who die every day in India by committing suicide because we're doing something terribly wrong in our model of development.